Okay, so this is going to be a quick overview of plant parts and their functions. I'll also do a video that we can look at these in depth, but I want to give you some basic background. So there's 5 basic parts to plants, not all plants, but most plants. Okay, so the leaves are the food factory of the plant. They consist of the petiole, which is the stalk of the plant, the leaf, the margin of the leaf, right, which is the edge of the leaf. And then this part's called the lamina. And leaves are really the center of photosynthesis and making food for the plant. So the node and the internode is where a new leaf will show up. So these little spots right here is where the new leaves are sprouting out of this. And then the space in between that is called the internode. And this is important for understanding propagation. Leaf scar is where a leaf was the previous year attached to the plant. So this is where the petiole attached to this plant. And then as the leaf dried and fall off in the fall, it left this little scar, and the spaces between these can sometimes tell you how fast something is growing. These are called lenticels, and lenticels appear, they're really noticeable in trees. You also see them on fruits. They allow for gas exchange in the plant, and this can be a variety of gases. And it has to do with ripening and also getting carbon dioxide and oxygen gas exchange in the plant. So plants have stems and branches and trunks, and those inside of those you will find the tissue for transporting food and water, and that's really what they're made out of, and that's what their vascular tissue is. I will talk a lot more about vascular tissue later in the year, but I'm not going to talk about it too much right now. Roots, they're usually underground. They're not always underground though, and their function is they anchor the plant, they absorb water and minerals from the soil that plants need. And or I mean, if you're an epiphyte and you're growing another plant, then you can also absorb them. You know, that means you're going to be lacking in minerals. They can also serve as a way to store excess food, and they can also be used to clone yourself, right? So grass is a great example of that. It makes an underground root and then it pops up new shoots. Flowers are all about reproduction. So this is all talking about the outside of the flower. So the green part here, this is the sepal, and this protected the flower before it was ready to open. And sepals, you don't want anything to eat your reproductive structure before you get a chance to get pollinated. Petals evolved from leaves, and so they have veins just like leaves do, which is kind of fun. The corolla is all the petals together. The calyx is the petals and the sepal together, right? So inside of plant flowers, you have male and female parts. Not all plants have male and female parts in them, but the majority of flowering plants do. The male part of the flower is called the stamen, and this is a stamen here, and this is the anther, and then this part here is the filament, and then this is where the pollen is, and pollen contains sperm that then fertilizes the female part of the plant. Pollen shape is unique to each species. These are a bunch of examples of pollen. The female part of the plant, the gynoecium, is this is here, and there's usually only one, and this is the stigma, and this is the style, and then it leads to the ovary in the bottom, which has little tiny eggs waiting to be pollinated and fertilized, and then those become seeds. So a fruit is a ripened ovary, and it's where your seeds are located. And if something makes a flower, it makes a fruit, and it makes seeds. So the next generation of the plant, which is the seed, it has a root and either one leaf or two leaf inside of it. And all seeds, it doesn't matter what they are, have a root and a leaf inside of it, every single one. So seed-bearing plants, there are 2 types of seed-bearing plants, and I do want us to know about both of those. Angiosperms, which are flowering plants,